How are you?
I'm good. I'm in good shape.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm actually surprised.
You mean you feel good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel exhausted
Right.
like women can usually be at the end of their pregnancy.
At 8 months and 2 weeks pregnant?
Yeah. I
Yeah, it's
feel
pretty
I feel
wild.
great.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I very often feel like you're in better general shape than me. Like you seem less tired than me.
Yeah.
You're thriving.
Yeah, you have a hard time with tiredness lately, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like the stress of like knowing that it's like sleep is really important for me and that with the baby it's going to be really hard, so my body's kind of like get as much sleep as you can. Like I slept 12 hours last night and I napped and I still slept well that night. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I
You're a good sleeper.
I'm a very good sleeper. I never wake up, which we're going to have to work on
I
for the
have to
baby.
wake him up
Yeah.
every morning.
Yeah, I know everybody has their own methods and everybody has their own like advice or whatever, but what we're going to try to do in the beginning for the baby is because Zoe's an early bird, she's going to wake up for the morning feeds and I'm going to try to stay as late for the night feeds and then probably wake up in the middle of the night cuz I can go back to sleep really quick. So it'll probably be bottle feed at night and for the day breastfeed if we can, which doctors hate it when I say if we can, but like every book I've read is like, yeah, it's okay if you can't do it, but the doctors
Yeah.
are like, you'll be able to do it, and I'm like, okay. I mean, I have total faith in you, but it's also not your decision, so I want to
Exactly.
take that pressure off of you.
Oh, thank you, my dove.
We do what we can,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really happy we're recording.
Yeah, it's now or never.
Yeah.
I must say, because we could go to the hospital any day now,
Yeah,
and like we had to gather our energy to record this last session
and really
slash
work around our
sessions.
schedules to really get these last
Yeah.
sessions.
And so today's episode is about relationship goals.
Woza.
Whoa.
Oh my Gucci.
Yeah, what does it mean?
What does it mean?
Like, I'm sure you've already heard that sentence, or like couple goal, under a cute couple pic on Instagram, or
Hashtag couple goals.
yeah, or like when
course.
someone shares like, a message, a text from their ideal partner.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel that there's often a gap, between reality and what we see, especially on social media.
Right.
Because like everything is staged,
Absolutely.
curated.
This is staged.
This is staged.
This isn't what our living room typically looks like.
Exactly. And so I kind of want to question this. What's the difference between what we see and what's really happening? Because I know that some people often tell about us that we are relationship goals,
Right.
but I'm
But that's through the lens of what we show them.
exactly, and like I think that relationship goal can be different regarding. I mean,
For one person or another.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, of
for some
course.
people, it can be all about romance, image. To me, it's more about emotional security, shared values, communication.
For a lot of evangelical Christians, the idea of a relationship goal is a very like submissive wife and a
Exactly.
man that provides
Yeah,
and like no shame on them, although we don't agree with that.
Yeah.
But I think that that's a perfect example of like that can be their relationship goal, and our relationship goal is more of like a partnership where we try to equal each other out.
yeah,
So yeah, I
Exactly.
do think that relationship goals doesn't mean the same thing at all for a lot of people.
yeah.
It could be a very controversial thing actually online.
Big time. So that leads me to my first.
Did you just say fucks? That lead me to the fucks.
Shit.
I guess this has to be an explicit video too. And it wasn't on purpose. Oopsie.
So that leads me on my first question.
Yeah.
Which is, what is your type of relationship goals? What
Like,
is your
like what is my relationship
Yeah.
goal?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good question. I I think that for a very, very long time, my my relationship goals was very much defined by like rom-coms and movies. High School Musical. Like I wanted what Troy and Gabriella had, you know? And I tried to mimic that without really thinking about, you know, us as two individuals, and more of like, a lot of it was like perception. Like I wanted people to see us as a good couple. That was really important for me.
As by us, you mean?
Whoever I was with.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I know that like if we got in an argument and stuff, it was really important for me to like hide that. Like obviously there's the part of like it's kind of like cringe and a little bit it's not super fun for other people to have to witness your fights. There's that part. But there's the part where I had to like protect the image of our relationship, because you don't see people in rom-coms arguing. Not in that way. They argue because, oh, but I have to go to New York City. Oh, but no, stay here with me. That kind of argument. Not like, clean your shit and do the dishes. So yeah, and I think it did a lot of, it did me a disservice, and it did my relationships a disservice, because there was never any like root work at the root of the problem. It was always, how do we look, you know, how does our couple look? Do people think we're relationship goals? And now there's still some of that. I mean, it's still important for me to people think that we're in a good, loving relationship, because we're a social being, and it's really important how people perceive us. It shouldn't take up that much space, but there is still that. So it's not like I'm saying that I've moved completely from that. But I do think that now I'm at a point where, you know, it's the work is so much more important. And every time we like get in a fight, there's that too, is that my fights were part of the relationship goals, because I fought in a very rom-com kind of way, where it was very dramatic and very like, you walk out without any consideration of like, is that like the healthiest thing to do for your relationship, or are you just doing that because it's dramatic? And like being an actor, I would watch myself a lot when I was getting in fights with people.
Okay.
Because I was like, ooh, this is like good. You're acting really well.
This is good content.
This is great content. Like this scene is great. Which is gross. I know it's gross. But yeah, now it's all about like, when we fight, can we like see eye to eye? Can we get to a place where we can talk about this in like a symbiotic way, rather than who's gonna win?
Yeah, or try to put oneself in each other's shoes. You know?
Be empathetic.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that for a long time, the short answer to this is that for a long time it was like rom-com standards, which I think now is changing. I think the rom-com standard is changing, which is great. And I think the conversation around healthy relationships is evolving. But for a long time it was that. And I think with you is when it really changed, was when there was like a huge difference of like, okay, now you're going to start acting like an adult and like really talk through things and work things out. And it doesn't have to be pretty. Yeah. And when it gets messy, don't like over dramatize it just because you like the drama of it. Like really work on, you know, your couple and your relationship.
Yeah. Interesting.
What about you? Because I think all of our relationship goals have evolved, but has yours kind of changed, would you say?
Oh, I think so, yeah. But I think I was thinking about it, and I was like reflecting on my first relationships, and I was quite lost, you know? I think I didn't know exactly what I wanted and what I needed and what I deserved. You know what I mean?
Ooh, yeah, that's deep.
I deserved to be treated well, and I wasn't. But it took me a long time to realize that. And I was, of course, part of the problem as well, you know?
It takes two to tango, as we say.
Exactly. So I think there's a part of me that wanted, yeah, romantic stuff as well. Like maybe not as deep as you in terms of rom-com representation, but I was expecting my partners to be, yeah, to be more caring, more loving, more respectful, like less douchebags, I guess.
Yeah. But there is a rom-com trope of the guy being sort of a fixer-upper, which I don't
Yeah.
know if you know this term.
Fixer-upper?
But basically, this is a term that usually applies to a house, but you say that a house is a fixer-upper when it's like it's got solid grounds, it's got a good base, but it's like all like sort of old and the wood is like breaking down and everything's sort of breaking down. But you can fix it and you can make it look good. And a lot of tropes in a lot of rom-coms is that the guy is kind of a fixer-upper, which means that, there's some potential there, but it's up to the woman to like find it and like make him into the man that he's supposed to be.
Oh, yeah. And make him better?
Yeah. And so what that does is
yeah.
that a lot of women see this and they're like, oh, my husband or my boyfriend isn't treating me right, but he's a fixer-upper. Like, I'll get him there. I'll fix him.
Oh, yeah. I think there was a lot of
And
that.
I think that's like
Yeah.
super problematic.
Yeah, I had a lot of faith in me making them better.
Right.
Which you cannot. Like, you cannot change a person. And I think that it's not the purpose of relationships.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
And you can still cherish and go through bad relationships, but you learn about them and you learn what's best for you and what you want out of a relationship. So it's not totally like, but I agree with you. It's not, and it's generally been that way where it's been women's jobs to like sort of
yeah.
make them better,
Yeah, exactly. And I also think that I was in a super unhealthy pattern where I was looking for, I wasn't looking for someone who would treat me well,
You're looking for a bad boy?
Yeah.
You found him, baby. Here I am.
Oh my God. No, but it was very hard. And I know that a lot of friends struggle with that because they're like, I'm only attracted to assholes.
Mm-hmm.
And I can clearly see that they're not good for me.
Yeah.
They don't want me good. They will hurt me. This relationship will be a disaster, but we're still going there.
Yeah.
And I think it took me so much time to deconstruct that. And at some point I started to be attracted to nice guys, but it didn't last. Like
You got the ick.
Yeah, I got the ick.
You got the ick big time. Yeah, where after like a couple of weeks or months, you were like, meh.
Yeah,
It's not as exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I found you, and you were a nice guy. And I stayed. And
We won't tell people why you stayed. It's a secret.
It's a mystery.
It's a mystery.
No, and I think that with you, I truly discovered what a healthy relationship means in every way.
But I think I did too. Like I think in our relationship, not only did I discover what a healthy relationship was, I discovered that I could be force de proposition, as we say in French. I could be the source of the healthy relationship as well, because I was the source of a lot of bad stuff in my previous relationships. In most of them, like in our exes episodes, I talked about how I felt like in most of my relationships I was actually the issue, and that I dated a lot. I'm not saying I was the only issue, but I dated a lot of like really nice people, and looking back at them, I was like, yeah, I was not necessarily a really standout guy, and so I think, yeah, maybe it's a matter of time, or maybe it's a matter of the person, but I really felt like there was a switch for me in our relationship.
Yeah.
I just wanted to put that as in like you saying that, you know.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And I think that, you make me want to be a better person for us and for myself as well,
And for baby.
The baby, yes.
Baby who has no name yet.
Yes. Do you think social media has changed the way we view relationships?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think this isn't something I've pondered before, so maybe this idea isn't a good one, but I feel like social media has replaced what rom-coms were to us before,
Okay.
where they set up this like perfect image of what everybody wants in their relationship. It's so rare, and if it does, it's not your decision, but it's so rare to see like negative content about people's relationships unless there's like some sort of like domestic abuse issue or something, or stuff like that going on. But even families, this is the second time I talk about this documentary, but we just saw a documentary called Devil in the Family, where literally their whole identity is that they're this perfect family, perfect husband and wife, perfect kids. And you see this documentary and you're like, oh my God, they were like the most toxic human beings ever. So you really, with that kind of stuff, you really notice how like easy it is to create this perfect image of your couple. And you can create whatever image you want because you're in charge of what you show, what you edit out. And so, yeah, I think that it's changed in the way that I think it's actually more intense than rom-coms, because when you go to the movie theater, you're seeing fiction. When you go on social media, you expect to see people's lives, and you expect to see the truth, or your brain tricks you into thinking you're seeing the truth, even though rationally okay, this is curated content. But you see all these people, and I think that's why so many people are going through like anxiety and depression. The new generation is because they see all this stuff thinking that's other people's lives when it's not the case. So we live up to these unattainable expectations, and it's rough, it's tough. And I think that it's really hard on a lot of people.
Yeah, but in the same time, I feel that there are more and more contents which are closer to reality today. Like, like this couple who makes content about therapy and like couples therapy and relationship dynamics and things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know what I'm
I
talking
feel
about?
like that's because that's the kind of content that you seek out.
Yeah.
Because you're somebody who goes to therapy, who does the work, who's interested in that stuff. So I know that you and me, we don't just send each other memes that I could have sent my like high school or college girlfriend of like I saw one today where it was like us in 50 years and it's like just this perfect like representation, and that was the kind of content that I used to consume. And now there's a lot more between us. We send a lot of like therapy based content. We follow this one couple who's like talking about what it's like to work on your relationship as partners and not just as lovers, which is really good for like a young married couple, because you're like, okay, this is what we're going to expect. It's not going to be the honeymoon phase for like 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
And so it's things that we're interested in. I don't know that a lot of people are interested in that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? There's a lot of comments in those creators specifically. I see a lot of comments of people finding it super cringe, super like fake, because they create these scenarios, which can be a little, like they're not the greatest actors, so it's kind of like cringe. But the message, le message, is really fundamentally important.
Yeah.
And I think that that is the case for maybe your feed, but not for everybody's.
Okay.
And I think that a lot of people's feeds is a little dangerous.
Yeah.
Because a
Fair
lot of people
enough.
love rom-coms and they love seeing perfection, and they don't necessarily dive into the harder stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's true. I think I'm seeking more this kind of content, like people who show themselves crying or having a
real.
hard time being real. I think that's great.
Yeah.
We need more of that.
But I think I used to be one of those people who like saw people like filming themselves crying, I'm sure a lot of people, even that listen to this podcast, think that's super cringe, and I understand why people think that's cringe, but I also think it is important because if we can film all like the good stuff, why can't we film the bad stuff? And it's not necessarily bad. It's just
Exactly.
somebody crying, somebody feeling their feelings, and they're filming themselves. I know you went through a period where you filmed yourself every time you cried because it was good for you to have like a track. I don't remember exactly the reason.
It was an experiment.
Yeah, it was like therapeutic for you.
Yeah. And I think the fact that we are cringed by it is because we see it as a bad emotion.
Yeah.
Whereas why couldn't we film ourselves laughing? I mean, why could we film ourselves laughing and not crying?
Yeah.
You know?
And why is that not cringe? Just because people associate it as a good feeling.
Yeah.
And it's like we don't want to see you crying, but I think it is important because it's like this is also the reality. And because we've set up this thing where it's like showing Instagram as like your life, why can't we show all facets of life? Because then you're behind your screen and you're doom scrolling and you're seeing all these people being super happy and you're just like, why is my life not 100% happy?
Yeah.
And nobody's life is 100% happy.
Yeah.
If that is what you want, if all you want to do is see people being happy and that makes you happy, which is totally legitimate, that's fine. But I don't think we should like bring people down for like showing their true selves too, because I think that's really important. There's a creator, and I hope she's okay with me saying this. She put it online. She put it on her Instagram, so I'm assuming she is. Her Instagram is Hello French, and she posted a video of her like sort of breaking down and talking about how hard social media was for her these days. And I thought, one, that was super brave of her because she was gonna get hate for it, and two, me as a creator who's like in the same sort of content as her, it was like really reassuring for me to be like, okay, like I was looking at her as like, she's doing so many great things. She did a video with the French president before I did. And I was like, what am I doing? Why am I not doing that kind of content? She did a lot of really cool stuff. And seeing her kind of like saying, hey, like it's a struggle for me too. It kind of, it doesn't feel good in the way that like, haha, she's crying. But it feels good to like know that I'm not alone. You know what I mean?
She's a human.
She's a human and we're all going through it. And yeah.
Do you compare your relationships to others?
Do I compare my relationship to others? I don't think I do anymore. That's a really good question because I think I did for a really long time and now I don't. And I honestly
It's
don't.
great.
Yeah, I don't have much else to say other than I really don't think I do. Yeah, that's a super boring answer, but I can't say more than that.
That's amazing.
I can't even. I mean, the simple explanation would be to just say that it's because I'm very happy in this relationship, and yeah. What about you? Do you?
I don't, and it's crazy because I do compare myself a lot to others.
Oh yeah, me too.
Which creates a lot of pain. But yeah, don't compare my relationship with you to others.
Wow.
And I think I did compare my previous relationships to others big time.
For sure, yeah.
But yeah, I don't need that anymore.
Wow. What a...
What a revelation.
Yeah. What a... anticlimactic moment too. I was like, yeah, no, I just don't.
Or maybe I don't compare, but I will see, like we can admire some other relationships or see things in other relationships that we want to avoid.
For sure. I mean, yeah, of course.
That we do.
Yes, we do that a lot.
We're being judgmental sometimes.
Who isn't? We've gotten to the point where now we're judgmental of parents, and we're not even parents yet. But because we know there's a baby on the way, we're like constantly seeing parents at the park, and we're like, never doing that.
Wrong energy.
We'll see in 5 years if we don't do that, you know. But anyways,
yeah. Like, do you see like a famous, like, is there a pop culture couple that you admire?
I was just thinking of like Timothy Chalamet and Kylie Jenner. Is that who he's dating? I think it's one of the.
I think so.
I think it's one of the Kardashians. Anyways, I was just thinking of them. I don't know why.
Do you admire them?
I just think they're two very beautiful people.
Oh,
And
like
Timothy.
physically?
Yeah, I guess. I don't even know. I think that I had a period where I was kind of googly eye over Justin Bieber and Haley.
Yeah?
Now Bieber. Is that her name? Haley Bieber?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, but that was before I met you. I don't know. Yeah. Zendaya and Tom Holland.
Yeah, it was...
But again, it's just because they're like two real. Like there was never a moment where I was like, gosh, I wish I was.
I was them.
I was them. Yeah.
I saw that they want to keep their wedding pretty
Private.
private,
Yeah.
discreet, low key.
I mean, when you have, it's a great
It's
decision.
great.
But when you have that much, like when that many people know you, when you're that famous, I think it seems like the obvious decision.
Yeah, but I think that's cool that you reach the points of like you being able to keep that. I don't know how to explain, but like
Intimacy?
yeah, to decide to choose intimacy
Yeah.
over comment on dit?
All the paparazzi and the media coverage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's an amazing decision.
What about Jay-Z and Beyonce?
No.
No.
I know.
No, huh?
Well, I mean, I don't know them well enough, but I mean, she wrote a whole album on him like cheating on her and stuff, and like now there's some sketchy stuff coming out with
With P. Diddy?
P. Diddy.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know. Again, I don't know them. I don't know enough to say anything, but they're definitely not. I mean, I'm definitely jealous of him. Like, what the hell? He's with Beyonce. He cheated on her, and he's still with Beyonce. Like, I'm like, what? But yeah, no, I don't know. It's not.
Okay. I'm thinking of another couple. But
Here's what I will say. Sometimes when I watch again rom-coms, and there's like that whole chase part, which we'll never go through again, hopefully, unless
Yeah.
we get a divorce
yeah.
and marry other people.
And
But-
our chase was
our chase was
pretty good.
it was pretty
Pretty intense.
it was
huh?
intense and efficace, as we say in French. Efficient, yes.
Efficient.
But yeah, those are the moments where I'm like, man, I kind of miss that. I kind of miss
Yeah,
the
you miss
chase. I know you hate it.
Yeah.
But like the whole, like just the idea of like sitting next to somebody you have a crush on, and you only just realize, oh, they may have a crush on me, and then you kind of feel your hand close to their hand, and there's like that. That feeling is intoxicating. And I remember when I was like in 6th and 7th grade, like that was like the biggest drug on earth for me. Like I had a 6th grade girlfriend, and like when we like first touched hands, I'll never forget that feeling. It was just like,
So romantic. But you could feel that feeling again, you're not you could feel that feeling again sometimes in your life. You're not a prisoner, you don't belong to me.
Oh, you mean with other people?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, here's
Yeah.
no, I didn't
I
mean
mean-
that as yeah, I know. It was more of a, I think we could feel that feeling. Like, I think the closest thing to it, and this goes back to like dramatic fights and stuff. I think maybe that was one of the reasons why I liked fights back in the day, was because I liked the resolution. And there have been moments where you and I got in a fight and it got kind of tense, and then we stopped talking. And then the first time we like come back to each other.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
I think that's the closest thing. I'm not saying that's like good or healthy to like seek out fights just so you can find that feeling again. But I do think that's the closest thing in our marriage that I'll associate
Yeah.
to.
I still-
Or if we haven't seen each other for like 2-3 weeks,
Yeah.
like, when we kiss again, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
remember when we saw each other just the day before the wedding, and we haven't seen each other for almost a month,
Yeah.
and we at first we decided not to kiss,
Yeah.
so we were like,
Yeah. Yeah. And then when we did kiss, it felt like a first kiss. That was awesome. It was really cool. Yeah.
yeah.
But no, I mean, I know you're cool like that, but that's a whole other. Let's move on to the next question.
Yeah. How do you feel about fighting, arguing in a relationship? Because I know we have like friends couples
Yeah.
that say that they never argue. I personally think that it's not necessarily unhealthy,
Right.
but I think that arguing can be super healthy if
sure.
you know how to argue.
Absolutely.
But I'm still, I would love to get in their intimacy and see how they handle things,
Yeah.
how they communicate.
Disagreements.
Yeah, because this is part of relationship. This is part of love, of partnership. Like, it's so, I feel it's, I don't know, it's so important to me.
I don't think we can say with 100% sureness. I don't think we can say with 100% certainty that because they never argue, it's unhealthy.
Yeah.
Because there is a world, and it might seem like a very small percent chance, but there is a world where they just don't really care about fighting about certain things,
Yeah.
and all the other stuff, which is more important, they just agree on.
Yeah.
So there is that world, and that exists. And my God, if you're in a relationship like that, that's good for you.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the day where an actual fight comes, because you guys will be very confused and you'll be like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Whereas if you've like had a couple of fights early on, and then you got bigger fights, more important fights, because like the first fights is like generally, hopefully, it's like small stuff. And then, later on, it's more like important stuff. Like, what are we going to call the baby? No, I'm just kidding. But, things that are that have more importance. I think that doing that, it kind of gives you a little bit of practice on like, oh, okay, this is how they react. This is how they function. Like, I remember very early on, we had like a very small fight. It wasn't even a fight. It was like a disagreement.
Like
and you like
the
immediately.
first one we had?
Yeah. And I don't know if it was the first one, but you immediately pouted and like walked away and gave me a silent treatment.
Oh, yeah, it was a powder.
You were a big powder. And I immediately told you, hey, that's not going to fly.
No, Rosé.
And like, I respect that that's how you like function, but I'm just like letting you know, because this was very early on. So we didn't even know if we want to be like a long-term relationship. But I was like, I just need you to know that I can't be in a relationship with somebody who just like gives me a silent treatment, because that's like not what I'm here for at all. And I'm not cool with that. And you immediately responded to that, and you were like, okay. And we worked on it, and it weirdly enough, I think that literally just telling you that, you were like, okay. And now we still have moments where like we pout, or we kind of like give each other like mini silent treatments, but at least we're like, hey, like I'm not, like yesterday we had an argument, and you were like, I'm ready to talk when you want. And I was like, I'm not ready. And then when we cooled down, I was ready to talk.
As long as you verbalize it.
Yeah, vocalize it or talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's different than just shut down.
Exactly.
And not say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, just literally give you a silent treatment where you just like don't answer anything.
Yeah. And do you remember our first fight?
I think as soon as you'll say it, I'll remember it, but no.
I think it happened like after a year of relationship.
Okay.
And I remember that we were like, oh, we never had a fight. And then it happened, of course. Mm-hmm. And
a year is a long time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I agree. And we were in Riquet.
Yeah,
so
in our first
less
apartment.
Than a year. Oh, yeah. And I think you were singing.
Mm-hmm.
Or like you were rehearsing for something. And then I wanted to sing. And you told me to go sing in the living room.
Yeah.
It doesn't ring a bell?
It does ring a bell. It's starting to come.
And you said something super mean, like...
oh, no.
Like... I don't know, like I could go fuck myself.
What?
Like I could just go in.
Are you sure about this? I want proof.
Not fuck myself, but like I don't.
Like too bad for you kind of thing.
Yeah, like you can go sing in the living room if you want to.
Okay.
Something like that.
That seems more.
I don't know.
It seems less violent than you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah, no, you never.
For our first fight, well, you know what? You can go fuck yourself, and that's how we're gonna fight.
No. It's
not like to defend my honor, but I feel, yeah.
But then well,
you can just, I think that was like kind of the pinnacle of the fight was me telling you, well, you can just go sing in the living room. Because we were both trying to sing at the same time, and I was basically telling you, like, if it's a problem for you, then go somewhere else.
Yeah, or like maybe I started to sing and you put a TV show on your computer or something like that.
That sounds
That sounds like a
That
Loic
sounds like a
move.
Loic move. That sounds more accurate. Now you're talking. Now you're talking.
And so I was super upset, and I went outside to walk Diego, and I remember I was crying. I was so mad in the street.
I remember you telling me you were like charging up your ammunition. You were like thinking of all the things you were going to tell me when you get back,
Yes,
which is
this is still
Everybody
something
does
I
this.
do, but much less.
yeah.
And then I came back, and I knocked on the door, and you told me, "What's the password?" It starts with I, and it finishes with you. And I said, "I fuck you."
I fuck you. Oh my god, I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great. But you laughed after that, and I think it pretty
Yeah.
much fizzled out
Yes.
pretty fast. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. The repair situation, the reconciliation.
yeah,
Oh, it feels always good.
yeah.
Oh.
And yeah, more so like the more tools we have, it's hard sometimes. Like
Yeah.
sometimes it's like you got to really take your ego, you got to
my
take
God.
like your all your sadness and all your anger, and you got to put that aside and go, okay, let's like talk.
But it's like sometimes I still get so confused. I'm like, how are we gonna?
Get back from this.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And we always do, and it's like if we take a step back, if we take some time, if we breathe, if we rationalize, we always get there. Like when you're in the eye of the storm,
Yeah,
sometimes it's like, whoa,
yeah.
are we?
Are we gonna get out of this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And also, yeah, no.
Because you don't want to lose your position, you don't, you want to feel heard.
Your position of power.
Yeah, you want to feel seen. You want to express what your needs, and you want to make the other person understand what you feel and why you are reacting that way, and what triggered you. And
And you know what's crazy is that by taking a step towards the other person and sort of empathizing with them, that's the only, when the other person is like super upset and angry,
and closed.
that's generally the only key to making them come to you. And like the only world where somebody will say, hey, I hear you out, I'm sorry, generally starts with you saying, hey, I understand what upset you, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's sometimes, it's very rare where like one of us apologizes and like clearly states out what they apologize for and like what they think happened and why they think the other person's upset. And sometimes the other person will be like, yes, thank you. But most of the time, the other person also takes accountability for like, and I'm not saying that those times are times where the person didn't take accountability. Maybe there have been times where literally one of us did nothing wrong. It happens.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, yeah, you just attacked me for nothing. Thank you for apologizing. But I want to say like 90% of the time, we both apologize.
Yeah.
Even when we both know one of us was more in the wrong, which doesn't even mean anything.
Yeah.
But I think the best thing about our relationship is that we've gotten to a point where like we can apologize and not feel like we've won. Because
Yeah.
if you try to win, everybody loses.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I wasn't good at apologizing. Like I never did. I always, let things fly and never got into the repair situation in my other fights, relationship, even friendships.
And your family.
It comes from my family, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel that it's still hard for me to say sorry, but it does feel good. Like it's I think it's one of the most empowering feeling
Yeah.
in a relationship,
I still have a hard time apologizing to people that I know won't like respond to that in like an empathetic way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really, really hard. And, you know,
Yeah.
it gets easier. I recently got in a pretty heated debate with one of my primary school friends, so like 5th grade friends, who's like super pro Israel. And I shared some like pro Gaza stuff because I was saying, hey, maybe we should stop bombing innocent people.
Maybe.
Maybe. And she reacted very in like a very heated way,
Okay.
very upset, basically calling me an anti-Semite, saying all these like really intense things, and I responded in a very heated way as well. And we kind of went back and forth, and like really like, you know, we were calling each other names and stuff. We hadn't talked in like years, and we were just going at it for this thing that's like, anyways. And it got to a point where I really had to like calm myself down and like think back at like this person that was my friend in 5th grade and be like, hey, like, this just makes me sad. Like, I'm not even like angry at you. I'm just sad because I genuinely believe that you think these things that you're saying. I don't think you're just being like a bad person.
Yeah.
And I calmed myself down and I said all these things to try to like, hey, if you have any books that you want me to read to like, so I can inform myself on like the Israeli side, because I have been taking like reading and content that is more pro-Palestine, I suppose, that I find to be pretty objective, and they just like lay it out. But maybe there is some content that will at least open my eyes up a bit about her perspective.
Yeah.
And when I sent that message, never got a response, and it ended there. But I feel a
Well,
lot
bad-
better about
bad
that.
for her.
You're right, but I feel a lot better about that conversation.
Yeah. That
but
was a great move.
but yeah, sometimes there's just no repair, and that's how it goes.
Yeah. What are the most important values in a long-term relationship?
In a long-term relationship,
Yeah.
so not like in a romantic relationship. Like, or is it a long-term romantic relationship?
Yeah, long-term romantic relationship.
I think the reason I clarified that is because the most important thing is that we are able to function as more than just a romantic relationship, in the sense that, again, going back to that rom-com thing, you sort of have this like image of like the movie ends, they get married and they lived happily ever after. And so you imagine that their life is full of, and yeah, for sure. But I also think that for a long-term relationship to work, it can't just be the honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
You have to you have to be able to function as partners and as friends, and as roommates, even though like you generally say like don't like make sure to not turn into roommates, which I totally understand, but we have to be able to live in the same space and, you know, live well.
Yeah.
As parents. So there's all these like things that aren't just romantic that have to work.
Fair enough.
And I think that for like the things that for me are really important are like we were talking about, like the repair moment of like, it's okay for us to get in fights. It's okay for us to disagree, but we have to be able to settle it somehow and talk about it and understand each other's perspectives and be empathetic.
And be curious.
And be curious. It's really important for me to feel safe as well, constantly, not feel judged. Which sometimes I do in this relationship. I think for me it's I've told you this, I think for me that's like the biggest, and I say this in quotations because it's not that big of a problem. Like you're not that judgmental. But I think the only...
I am.
No, you're fine. But I think that the only thing that, you know, that I bring up in our relationship as something that, you know, I think we should work on is there's things that I have to work on. I'm making it seem like you're the only person who has to work on this. But yeah, sometimes I do feel judged and it makes me feel a little unsafe. This is also me working on not presenting a perfect couple.
Yeah, that's great.
Because we're not perfect. But yeah, I want to feel safe in every aspect. And you do, like, you know, you're very, very good at handling like my anxiety, and you're there for me and you know how to be there for me. So yeah, it's all these things. And also I'm really lucky because we've been together 5 years and I am just as attracted to you now as I was 5 years ago, which is, I say lucky because it's not something you really choose. You don't choose to be attracted to someone.
Yeah, and like...
And yeah, I still get the butterflies,
Ooh.
as we say. So yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. And it's not only attraction, but like I do feel that we're still having as much fun as when we met. Like I couldn't. There is not a single day that you don't make me laugh out loud, and we're not like messing around and horsing around.
Horsing around. I love when you say that.
Horsing around. And yeah, I feel like it's always we have hard times, of course, but there's always so much joy and laughter and joyfulness in our apartment, you know. So I feel pretty grateful about that too. Yeah, and one of the motto we have found to get us through the hard times is this could be fun.
This could be fun, which was at one point the title of this podcast.
Yes.
It was between French Kiss and This Could Be Fun, because it was a motto that we had found to get us through, like, not just like the hard times in our relationship, but the hard times like when one of us is just not having a good time.
Yeah. Or you can apply it to yourself, like in every
Context.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to
Like,
explain the...
Yeah, like basically what we...
It's very simple.
Yeah, it's very simple. But what we try to do is always see the bright side and the joyful side of any situation, and choose, like mindfully choose to
Focus on that.
focus on that and to make it fun, to make it lighter and more enjoyable.
Because you're gonna go through not fun times regardless of if you want to or not.
Yeah.
So it's just like, for example, when you're like moving out and it seems like such a... And this is much easier said than done, which is why we say it a lot. So hopefully it gets done. But like if you're like going through like if you have to move, like packing all your stuff, taking all your stuff downstairs, like just the thought of that would make me like anxious and like tired. Just thinking about it would make me tired. But if you like go about it like, hey, we're like doing this fun thing, we're going through our old stuff and we're packing our old stuff and we're recycling our stuff and all that kind of positive that comes with moving, then you can have a better time. I'm not saying it's going to be like 100% better time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I think our brains are so trained to have a negative attitude about things.
Interesting. Do you?
Yeah, in general, like human beings. You know, it's so much easier to be negative about something that you know is gonna be hard and it's gonna requires efforts.
Yeah, because it's like the default mode.
Exactly, yeah. So we just have to recalibrate.
Yeah,
Rewire our brains, you know. And I think it takes time to rewire them. But life can be so much funnier.
Yeah, or
Funnier?
better generally.
Yeah.
Can be so much funner, but that's not it's so much more fun.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know
much
why-
more fun.
I don't know why funner isn't a word. I would love for it to be a word.
Yeah. And there are still times where we
Have to remind each other
oh yeah.
when we see the other ones going through a really hard time, or like sometimes we'll like get upset. This whole thing started. My mom's gonna find this out on the podcast because she doesn't know. This whole thing started because we were having a hard time setting up like our tables for the wedding, and for me, I went about it in like this could be like a puzzle. This could be like fun. We're like putting people in place, and I was genuinely having a good time. And
I
Zoe,
was not.
Well, you were like anxious about it, which was totally normal. And my mom started like doing all these changes.
And we could see her live, you know, on the Excel sheets.
Yeah.
Moving
Names
seats.
around without asking us, and we're like, oh god, this is gonna be a nightmare. And Zoe was getting like really anxious because of that. And we kind of got like in a bit of a fight over it.
And Loic was like, okay, I'm having fun. If you don't want to have fun, I'm gonna have fun by myself, but I'm choosing to have fun. So this could be fun.
Yeah.
And you could join me in the funness.
If you want to have fun, this could be fun.
Yeah.
And so we just adopted that saying, and now we just use it for whatever thing we're not having a good time with.
Yeah.
And again, sometimes much easier said than done, but possible.
Exactly. And I think that this podcast is a good example of I mean, there were times, there were episodes that we had to record where you
We had to remind ourselves this
my
could be
God,
fun.
this could be fun.
Yeah, and like almost every time we were like happy once we got started.
yeah.
And we say that about like working out too, where we're like, okay, it seems like it's gonna suck now, but it could be fun. And then we go and we do it and we get our bodies moving, and
Yes.
it always ends up being a good time.
Yeah. So thank you for your answers, Loic.
Thank you. I hope people have a better insight of our relationship and that we're not necessarily a relationship goals as a lot of people might think.
Yeah.
But we also are in a lot of ways, and
Yes.
we're our couple goals.
Oh.
Piacere. We're our couple goals, and you guys hopefully will find your couple goals, and everybody's couple goals is different. And that's what's most important, I think. And just find your couple goal.
And tell us, what is your couple goal?
Yeah, tell us in the comments, what is your couple goal?
We want to know.
Thanks so much, guys. We hope you had a good time, and we hope you join us next week on French Kiss.